More local news now. It began as a quiet peace and awareness rally in Vernon's Polson Park yesterday. It ended with blasts of police pepper spray. RCMP and bylaw officers scuffled with some rally participants. 2 people were arrested. As Leslie Ann McPherson reports, both sides are looking into pressing charges.
Canada's way has always been we don't want our young people going off to wars of aggression.
The Peace and Awareness rally in Vernon yesterday started off like this, no problems at all. But it ended like this, with Neil Magnuson getting a face full of pepper spray.
Saying no to enforcing this law. Oh, dude, you don't have to do that.
And so when they put him in handcuffs, I went and hugged him. And I said, no, you should not put this man in handcuffs. He has done nothing wrong here. You need to talk to us about this. And right away, he pepper sprays me in the face and then wrestles me to the ground and does all sorts of other nasty things.
And then everybody starts getting loud and started yelling at them, and they made the whole situation very volatile.
Police say the violence broke out after some rally participants had illegally parked their vehicles in a fire lane and refused a bylaw officer's request to move them.
They went away and they came back an hour later and nothing had happened, so they came back 3 times. So they gave these folks lots of opportunity to simply move their cars. It wasn't that big a deal.
Jack Elliman, the event organizer, says it was a big deal. He claims he had no other choice but to park there.
Why shouldn't I have been allowed to park there? I wasn't in the way of anything. I paid for a permit to be here. How else are we supposed to load up our bands onto the stage? And my car is full of merchandise that I have to sell. I mean, how else are we supposed to deal with that?
Police say bylaw decided to tow Elliman's car after discovering he had 7 previous unpaid parking tickets. When the tow truck arrived, the trouble started.
And I'd loaded my car, not to the brim, but enough for me to leave when the tow truck showed up, and I started turning around, and he reached in and grabbed my keys, and that's the rest is history.
Police view the situation differently.
The police were actually called because the situation was obviously becoming very volatile and deteriorating rather quickly. This particular bylaw officer, she's a female bylaw officer, she certainly feared for her own safety. She felt threatened, and when she got on the radio and called for police backup, it was obvious that we had to get there very quickly.
Magnuson can't believe the amount of force that was used.
I'm so sore in here. My head hurts so bad. I got all these mashes here. I have no feeling from my elbow down to the end of my thumb and to the end of this finger here.
The fellow that was pepper sprayed was also warned on at least 2 occasions to cease and desist and to comply, refused to do so, and at some point police have to make a decision, have to step in and maintain the peace.
Elliman feels rally participants were being targeted, saying he hasn't seen people ticketed before.
We've done this before. I've seen many events happen here. Last year we did the exact same thing, and it wasn't a problem.
Vernon's manager of bylaw enforcement is now investigating.
Because I don't have all the information as to what occurred. I have our statements from our officers. I have statements from the RCMP. You know, they've collected statements as well. And so at this point in time, you know, there's no comment until I have more information.
Elliman and Magnuson were arrested, interviewed, and released. Police are recommending charges of resisting arrest and obstruction of justice, but the people arrested say it's the police or bylaw officers who should be charged. In Vernon, Leslie Ann McPherson, CHBC News.
This spring, Vernon City Bylaw Services took over parking enforcement from a private security contractor. That may explain why vehicles illegally parked at last year's peace rally were not ticketed or towed away.